What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 3. I think this is actually not ticketed because the admin left, but that's fine. We're going to play this game, and we have a whole bunch of witnesses that can say, yes, this game actually happened. This is going to be Game 2 between Mineski on the Radiant, Myth Trust on the Dire, over here on Hefla TV1. I am Mike Loris, and last minute edition, I'm going to be joined by Grandis V.
Yeah, the series over at Hefla TV 2 didn't happen as we had a no-show, so a lot of issues with JDL today. But that will mean that we have two casters on this game, and well, it looks like this might be a pretty quick one, as first pick Lycan goes the way of Mineski.
So yeah, just a quick status update for everyone. This game is about an hour late, and we have no admin, but that's fine. This is a continuation of their best of two. The first game was played yesterday. It was, I mean, the video is an hour and a half long, so it was a very long game. And ultimately, actually, I'm not even going to tell you who won. Let's just pretend it's only just a best of one series. Go watch that game over on youtube.com/HeflaMoke. It is extremely epic. It is definitely worth your time.
Yeah, and well, Myth Trust, in response to that first pick, Lycan get their hands on Death Prophet and Skywrath Mage. So they have some good silences to lock the Lycanthrope down so he doesn't get off the Shapeshift, as well as having some pushing power of their own. Although it's not as scary as a Lycanthrope, Death Prophet can still function pretty well.
Yeah, so we're going to have pushing from both sides, it seems, as Mineski. They do grab Lycan and Razor. These are two extremely powerful heroes, it's two extremely powerful core heroes at the current stage of Dota. They don't really work fantastically with each other, but they don't really work against each other either, so just having two powerhouses on your team gives them quite a bit of flexibility. Like, most likely it's going to be Razor versus Death Prophet, whereas Lycan going to be getting a lane all to himself. And they do have a little bit of pushing once the Aghanims comes up on Razor, but until then it'll just be Lycan working with his Wolves and Howl. This is a Radiant Lycan, so it's not going to be super strong with the Roshan advantage, but it's always going to be a potent hero.
Yeah, definitely. Batrider banned out by Mineski would have been a solid offlaner, although Centaur is still in the pool. They might look to ban that one out as well, and we're probably looking at an offlaner for Mineski to pick up on top of that. I'm not sure exactly what's still all left in the pool. I think Centaur is going to be a pretty big point of contest in the second picking stage.
Yeah, and Myth Trust do get that first pick off of the second picking stage. Batrider's already out, so I do like that ban from Mineski, and it looks like both sides going to be respecting those off-lane heroes. The Nature's Prophet in Mineski's first game, played by, I don't remember, the guy with the ellipses, right? Was it? I don't know. That was yesterday, too long ago. But he played a pretty good one. He got 6-slotted really quickly and did a ton of damage.
Yeah, well, Myth Trust, they're pretty much going to have the pick of what they want to snag up in the second picking stage. Shadow Shaman is still in the pool, and Centaur is still in the pool as well. And I think they'll probably ban one and then pick the other, although there's still some there's some, oh my goodness, stumbling over my words, but there's still quite a few of pretty solid supports. The only one that's been either picked or banned is the Skywrath Mage on Myth Trust already.
I think you have to ban out the Shadow Shaman or take it. You can't afford to let a team get both Lycan and Shadow Shaman. That's just a little bit too much pushing power. It could be a lot worse, but at the same time, it could be a lot better also. Lycan is really all you want to have the other team have as far as pushing is concerned. Once they get two heroes that can push really aggressively, then you're going to have to play super defensively, or at least prepare for tower defenses, and sometimes that's just not what you want to do. Like with a Death Prophet, you want to be the one on the aggressive taking those towers instead of trying to defend your own. Yeah,
definitely, and well, they're taking their time with this pick, and I definitely think the Shadow Shaman has to be one of these two slots next for Myth Trust, as you said already. As far as the other big pushing heroes that they might not want to give away, there's an Enigma still in the pool. If Mineski want to snag that up, would give them a lot of team fight as well as pushing power with Eidolons with Howl, although it is rather greedy as far as laning is concerned.
Yeah, Enigma, though, they will get a lot of pushing early on off of that hero, just against the silence of Skywrath Mage, and the Death Prophet will always be doing the damage, assuming Exorcism is up when she's caught in the black hole. It's a little bit of a dangerous pick for Mineski, but it could get them a nice early game advantage. If they want to take that risk, so be it. But as predicted, it is going to be the Centaur pick for Myth, as they actually ban out the Witch Doctor instead of the Shadow Shaman. I mean, it's a good hero, the Witch Doctor, but I think the Shadow Shaman in this case is just a little bit scarier.
Yeah, I would say so too, but Mineski also having a different thought in mind as they go for the Rubik pickup for themselves. There's some decent spells to steal, although it's nothing huge. Exorcism doesn't work that well on Rubik. Although the Hoof Stomp and Centaur Ultimate are nice if you can get your hands onto it, there's nothing incredibly reliable that's just amazing and screams Rubik pick. I think Shadow Shaman would have been a better pickup for Mineski, and they could have gotten the Rubik to combo with that a little bit later on in the draft. This way, Myth, they can pick up the Shadow Shaman in this picking slot if they choose to do so.
There's always the possibility that Mineski are going to veer off and go back towards the Enigma and then have that Rubik just as a defensive pick. With the Centaur, the Enigma doesn't get any better or worse, so it's still just as decent as before, but that is a possibility, but you know, it's just a place-stunning hero. I would say it's kind of an underwhelming pick in that it doesn't do anything super great for Mineski. It doesn't do anything super poorly either, so picking just an support hero is most of the time not what you want to do. As Myth Trust, they pick up a much, I would say, stronger support hero. In general, Earthshaker with Skywrath Mage is a pretty devastating combination.
Yeah, especially if you're able to roam around early on, get some good blocks with those fissures, you can set up a lot of kills. Although they don't have the best heroes to contribute to ganks and lanes, the harass coming up from the Death Prophet Cryptstorm could contribute into some kills on that Razor that I assume is going to be taking up the mid position.
Yeah, as of right now, it's a pretty safe assumption. Lycan can go there sometimes, but against Death Prophet, it's probably not what you want to have happen. Cryptstorm harass is dangerous enough without also being in melee range all the time. So most likely it will be a Razor going mid.
Yeah, I think Mineski, their choice right now is between that Shadow Shaman and the Enigma. I think both of them would be pretty good, although they have some decent ways to cancel the Black Hole before a BKB comes out for the Enigma. Earthshaker Fissure, great long-range way to initiate. You have a Blink. War Stomp coming up from the Centaur, the silences from the Skywrath Mage as well as the Death Prophet. It's not going to be the most reliable, although I think more than anything, picking the Enigma would be for the Eidolons.
Yeah, really just want to get as much howl damage on the field as possible. It would be a very similar pick to if they had an Nature's Prophet available to them, but unfortunately it's just not the case. They do also need an offlane hero, and they can run an aggressive tri-lane in theory, but Lycan's not really great at doing that. As far as aggressive capabilities are concerned, the Wolves are nice at poking, but when you're actually fighting against especially a Skywrath Mage and Earthshaker, your Lycan would really just rather be farming. So aggressive tri-lanes for Mineski, though they can still come up with a Razor Rubik and then one other support. Seems like it's probably not going to happen, as they do go for a Tinker, actually. So that's going to be their third core, might be going mid.
Definitely. I think Tinker is actually a pretty okay pick here. Coming out from them, really the only hero that's going to be able to consistently catch him out is that Centaur Warner. And even then, if Tinker's playing in the tree line, they don't have a great way to get vision of him. And although it's a pretty greedy hero, even if they commit a lot to shutting down this Tinker, then you have to deal with a Lycan that's more or less getting a lot of farm. I think this is going to change how they lane this, however, coming out from Mineski. I think we actually are going to see an aggressive tri-lane coming out from them with the Razor as the core in that one, leaving the Lycan solo safe versus the Centaur.
Yeah, it's probably a good way to go, and Myth Trust, they recognize that possibility. They're going to get rid of the Jakiro as the last ban in this game, as their last ban in this game. But Mineski, they'll always have more heroes that they could pick up. If they really want to go aggressive with this and try to shut down this lane, because it will be a hard lane to go up against, then they could always pick up something like an Undying, some real nice tri-lane powerhouse there, but it's a lot of flexibility again. They just need a support hero, and it'll be minimal impact as to who they pick up, I think. Still, a Shadow Shaman is in the pool, so why not go for that?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid support. Gives them some good lockdown. If you can lift somebody up, pull it towards the Razor, and then shackle them in place, that's a lot of stolen damage going this way. Last pick for Myth Trust is actually going to be an Ember Spirit. He doesn't have very good counter push until he gets online with a Battle Fury at the very least, and probably another damage item on top of that. In lane, I think they could get away with a mid Lycanthrope if that is the matchup. Up against an Ember Spirit, he'd do okay. I think they are going to safe lane farm this Death Prophet, but whoa! We have a Tusk.
Is it December already? I thought it was September, but apparently it's Christmas time. We get to see a Tusk in a tri-lane. If you snowball in Rubik and Razor, or just Razor, that could be pretty sweet. But yeah, going back to the Ember Spear for just a second, the Myth Trust side did play him in their first game, and it was rather mediocre, though it is a great hero versus Tinker. This Tusk, I've only casted him like once or twice so far.
Yeah, I've casted him maybe like 3 times after the snowball change, and yeah, it's just something you don't get to see very often, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Whether or not it works out for Mineski is another story, but as you said in the tri-lane, the snowball could be pretty impactful, and the defensive capabilities will be very nice. I don't know, it's going to be fun to see how they utilize it. If it gets off to an early start, Skywrath Mage and Death Prophet could be focused down pretty effectively, as could the Earthshaker with just the Walrus Punch, also a pretty decent disable going through BKB. But yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what the thoughts are behind this Tusk pick exactly, as I think that your Shadow Shaman or even the Enigma would be more solid heroes.
Yeah, but I'm always okay with seeing a strange hero picked up, especially if it is going to be an aggressive tri-lane, which is probably going to mean it's going to be seen, he's going to die and get killed a lot, so we get to see him actually, getting a workout in this game. Once again, we're getting some audio issues, it seems. I'm very quiet for some reason, so safe.
I'll just turn down my mic a little bit.
Alright. Well, actually, just don't turn it down that much, because I turned you down a little bit, so that might be a little bit too much.
Okay, well, if there's still problems in 2 minutes, just let us know. I'll keep an eye on the chat on the side, as we do have a pause, and the Gs are going to come out, but that'll give us time to introduce our players while they're still in the base. On the side of the Radiant, we are going to have Mineski, with Jacko taking up his Tinker. That is going to be Oa on the Razor, Playhard on the Rubik, Jesse Vash playing the Tusk, and Joven on the Lycanthrope.
And on the Myth Trust side, they are game down. We have Kim GB on the Centaur War Runner. Yashimaru is on the Earthshaker. MyPro going to be playing the Death Prophet. Going up top, it's going to be SD on the Skywrath Mage, and then Ember Spirit on the Ember Spirit as himself.
Yeah, I don't think there's a better way to go about saying that name. I'll check if he goes by any other aliases in the meantime to see if we can actually find out who that is. Let's see, his profile isn't private, so maybe we'll be able to get a more meaningful name.
Alright, well, while you're delving into the depths of Dota to find out that, let's take a look at how these lanes are actually going to shape
It's Lakel's.
It's what?
Lakel's.
Oh.
This is their normal roster, he just screwed up his name.
Well, thanks, Myth Trust, for doing this to us. I don't know if I'm going to always remember that, but I'll definitely try. Well, at any rate, the lanes from Mineski, it actually is going to be a Razor solo versus Centaur, it seems, with a Lycan aggressive tri-lane. I already talked about this and how I don't really like it. Maybe with a Tusk it gets a little bit better because you're able to snowball in close as they're going to run to SD. Ice Shard's perfectly on the mark, and SD can't run. There's a nice 3-man fissure, but he just can't leave. The right-click damage is going to be enough, and Playhard draws first blood. That Ice Shard, you can't get much better than that.
That almost just straight up warrants a Tusk pick if you can catch out your first blood, and this is a tri-lane that you don't want to be giving first blood to. You want this Lycanthrope to not have a good time, and, well, although it is Playhard getting that extra gold, it's still going to help them out quite a bit. Yeah, it's a really good play. Those Ice Shards were beautiful. It's more or less the positioning of where they're coming into that made those Ice Shards great, not the Ice Shards themselves. I don't think the timing was that important, but good positioning coming out from Mineski.
Or bad positioning coming out from Myth.
Very well.
Really, no matter how you slice it. Ice Shard's got to kill, guys, so chalk that one up as a win for the Tusk. We see the Centaur with the Haste Rune pulling the creeps off of the bottom lane, making life a little bit tough for the Razor, but as expected, most of the action is going to happen up on top. Ember Spirit with the Flame Guard, not going to protect him that much because most of the damage is physical. The Lycan taking a lot of damage. The Ice Shards are there to wall off the Earthshaker. Looks like the Lycan will get out alive, but Tusk is already pretty low on mana, and Lycan really showing his weakness in this lane. There is a lot of physical damage that they could put on the Ember Spirit in theory, but they actually just need to have everyone be close by, and with 2 melee heroes in an aggressive tri-lane, that's a little bit difficult.
It really is, especially without the point in a snowball yet for the Tusk. I think that's when they can actually hope to get some kills, but a Fissure comes out, blocks Lycan on the wrong side, and he'll be fine. Although he's going to be forced to tango up, he gets one pool to him by one of his supports.
Alright, so I'm really curious to see whether this Lycan's going to get anything at all, because right now he has 0 CS, 0 denies. He'll be able to get some, but I feel like Ember Spirit with just his more ranged support cast, like Earthshaker technically is melee, but Fissure pretty much makes him ranged. They'll have more control over this lane, and if you have an aggressive tri-lane like this and you're getting shut down this hard, that's just nothing but an objective failure for your lane, as well, we see Tinker dropping pretty low, but we might see a battle here in the jungle. Tusk is not yet level 2. I think really once he gets to that mark, that's going to be when Mineski are going to want to go for a super aggressive play.
Yeah. I don't know, while they're still waiting on that, we're going to look at the other lanes. This Death Prophet gets a kill on the Tinker. Jacko just, I don't know, was playing too aggressively. He was already low, very low to those Cryptstorm spams. I'm not sure why he came that close before tangoing up.
I was watching that. It made absolutely no sense. He was trying to, like, fight the Death Prophet when he had, like, half of her HP, and well, now he's going to try to go again. He has level 2 laser. This might get the kill. He can't reach, but Jacko kind of just being a little bit suicidal. Like, he had no HP to begin with, and he just got hit with a Cryptstorm. I have no idea what happened.
Pretty much, yeah. bottom lane, Razor versus Centaur, Razor dominating that lane as expected, but Centaur is showing his force, and he's going to be able to get pretty much unobstructed experience. They might make it go up top, they might find this Skywrath Mage, and now they get everybody in the snowball. It's going to go pretty fast. While Skywrath Mage is innately fast, it's not going to be able to catch him out. The Ice Shard's going to block him in between 3 enemy heroes. The Fissure comes out, and it's nice, but this is looking like a similar story to what we saw earlier. He's going to be able to run towards the left, and now has the Ember Spirit there to offer some chain support. He does have the Flame Guard, now gets the chains onto 2 enemy heroes. The Lycans are falling pretty low. Looks like they're not going to get any kill. The Howl came up pretty low or late and play hard. He's actually the one that's falling. We have another snowball coming out from the Tusk. They're going to go. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to the Skywrath Mage, and they're going to be able to get that kill. They save the Rubik as well, but only for now. The right clicks are probably going to come out from the Ember Spirit as well as the Earthshaker, but it looks like it's going to give the Ember Spirit his life away to the enemy team. All they need is one more. And oh, those Ice Shards were just... oh, as good as the other ones were. Jesse Vash caught out his Lycanthrope before he was able to get that kill in the Ember Spirit, and he'll salve up and be fine. 2-2, our kill score.
That fight was so freaking messy. The Ember Spirit picking up a very early Poor Man's Shield, giving him so much value against the predominantly physical damage of Mineski's top lane, blocking hits from Wolves and from the Lycan himself, but also Mineski making a pretty crucial error, I would say, to open up that fight. Like, they were... you know, they pretty much had Myth in a small choke point where Ice Shards would have just completely walled off. Yet instead they waited, and they waited for a very long time, and actually decided to go for a Snowball, which landed, yes, but it should have been just a very easy Ice Shard kill on that Skywrath, because the Fissure would have been there a little bit late, but they would have had the Skywrath Mage completely pinned in, and it would have just been an easy get in, get out, smash and grab, but maybe a little bit over eager to use the Snowball, ended up giving up way too much in that exchange.
Yeah, and it is a hero that we don't see very often, and honestly, I'm not sure if Mineski are 100% comfortable playing with the Tusk, although they do have level 2 as well as boots now, and Jesse Vash is going to rotate down towards bottom lane. If they get into Ice Shards after a Snowball in the Centaur, he's probably going to fall. The Rubik is going to leave this Lycanthrope solo, and, well, Lycan can't really hope to get very much farm out of this lane, although the levels will probably come out for him. He needs to be careful. And, well, the Fissure comes out, it blocks him again on the wrong side. They'll throw an Arcane Bolt his way, and that's going to do some harass, but that's all she wrote.
I'm more concerned for this Razor down on bottom. He's feeling pretty comfortable here, but he's at less than half HP, and Centaur, once he hits level 6, if he lands a double edge on that Razor after a Hoof Stomp, that could be a very, very easy kill. And then very quickly it'll equalize this lane. Tusk is there to back him up, but really Tusk is not able to do much against a hero once they're stampeded. It's just not going to happen that way. So the Centaur is going to once again be playing lots of games with the Razor, and Lycan is going to continue to get nothing. I think this might be about the time where you abandon the top lane as Lycan and just try to get something in the jungle. Otherwise, he's just not getting anything.
Yeah, honestly, I think they might be able to give one of the supports a little bit of room up towards top to where they can soak experience, but even then, they're probably going to die if they stick around. I don't know. This Tusk is only level 2, and it's not really getting any better for Jesse Vash because no kills are going his way. Despite being 1-0-1, he hasn't soaked that much lane experience. There he takes his level 3, and he's going to put the second point into Snowball. Yeah, despite getting the first blood, it still hasn't really propelled them that far. We are going to look at an Ancient stack forming for the Tinker over at the Radiant side, going to be bolstered by the Rubik. It's something that you don't want to do up against the Radiant Tinker, is allow him to have these Ancients, because he just farms them too quickly, and he'll accelerate his farm at a ridiculous rate. Despite trading evenly in mid-farm versus the Death Prophet, that's completely fine. He'll get his Soul Ring at a decent timing, and, well, has his boots now, and once he gets that Soul Ring as well as level 6, he'll be able to farm it. They do block it with an Observer Ward, however, it's already triple stacked, and they'll probably be able to get it one more time as the Lycan dies up top, pretty much just to the Ember Spirit as well as Aras coming up from Skywrath Mage, as Earthshaker was down in mid.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected a kill to happen. I wasn't even looking up there, because without level 6 in the Ember, the Lycan shouldn't be going down unless he's playing way too over-aggressively. He must have just gotten into melee range somehow with a concussive shot or something, and then just chained up and died. But yeah, Lycan is going to take my previous advice and go to the jungle. He has nothing left to gain in this top lane. He has a 3-level disadvantage for this Ember Spirit. Mineski, their aggressive tri-lane, at this point has been a complete failure. Now the question is, can Tusk actually do anything in this kind of dissolved state of the lane? I don't know if he can, but at the same time, I haven't really seen that much Tusk play.
Yeah, I think right now he's more or less just the defensive Snowball, and he'll be nice in the team fights. And while they might be able to go on Centaur now, they throw out the Ice Shards. It is going to block him in, and now the stun comes through with the Snowball. They're all three there. The Centaur ultimate is going to break some distance, and I don't think they'll be able to secure this kill because of it. Yeah, just not enough lockdown. All they had was that Snowball, and they weren't able to bring him down in time, despite having Howl as well as 84 stolen damage.
Yeah, the stun duration on Snowball is nothing exactly to write home about, and Centaur, very, very tanky, so killing him off was a pretty distant dream for Mineski, unless they got like a complete surround within those ice shards, and they had wolves, so it was a possibility, but it's very unlikely that that's ever going to happen. So 2-3, and Myth Trust, though they did give up the first blood in a very poor fashion, they should be feeling pretty comfortable with their positioning right now, because they do have a substantial EXP lead, and they also have a Death Prophet who's pretty much been getting everything that she could possibly want. Of course, the Tinker has been getting quite a bit as well, but I think it's soon to be Myth Trust making some aggressive plays towards the towers, as well, we do see Razor running into the Death Prophet. Going to run her down for a little bit of damage, but ultimately not going to result into too much of anything. And, well, he's actually going to take a concussive shot plus a swarm. Going to throw out the Plasma Field, do a lot of damage to the Skywrath Mage, and he's actually going to continue sticking around as here comes the Snowball pretty quick. You better run, Skywrath Mage. Snowball will dissolve, and the Fade Bolt from the Razor will kill the Skywrath Mage. Now MyPro's on the run. Laser and right clicks for him. It's a 2-kill for Mineski. That Snowball moving real quick, and here comes Lakelz in the Ember Spirit, but he's a little bit outnumbered. Shards are going to fly, will whiff, and Ember Spirit will back off, but that Snowball went pretty damn quick with the Razor's movement speed. Yeah,
it definitely did. Your Tusk paying off there, and now in mid, he's going to bump into the Ember Spirit, although the chains land onto the 2 creeps were there. Bad RNG for the Ember Spirit. Will secure Tusk's safety. Lycanthrope is very low, didn't actually see how that happened. I assume it's just a Fisher into Hoof Stomp. But he was able to back off and at least keep himself safe. This Lycanthrope is not going to have any farm to write home about, but the Razor almost finishing up his mechanism, as well as a Tinker that's going to get very close to his boost of travel once he completely farms up this stack. Will be pretty good. They've committed so many wards over here to the Tinker. I'm not even sure if all of these are necessary. Yeah, I think it's more or less just red herring wards, so that if they block, like, take out the sentry, they'll think that it's not blocked anymore, but instead it still has the observer. I don't think it actually matters, though. He'll still have his large camp that's been stacked up available, as well as the pre-stacked camps that are over at the Ancients.
And Tinker is going to get enough gold from this, and I don't know if Myth can actually contest it. Warding it is great and everything, but by the time they actually got that ward down, the stacks were already there, so it was kind of a hollow victory in the fact that they did block it, but it was a little bit too late. In the meantime, mid lane, Jessie Bash, I'm just going to take a concussive shot. Lakel's not going to jump on that just yet. Mineski don't really want to fight at this stage because Tinker is busy demolishing his stack. That'll put him 500 gold away from his Boots of Travels. It will not be the fastest by any means, but considering the circumstances, it'll be a very welcome addition to the Mineski lineup.
Yeah, it really will. He's well on his build path for a normal game for your Tinker, or at least a good game. Had he not died that one time in mid, he'd be looking better as the... Oh, Tusk, yeah, he'll throw out the Snowball, but I'm not sure if that's going to cause his death. It probably will to be able to get anything off of it. He throws out the Ice Shards, he gets silenced up and then brought down. Razor steals 21 damage, but Ember Spirit will be able to walk away. They bring the Tinker in. Buying a TP scroll is going to delay a little bit of his farm, but he still has the double stack over here, which will net him probably 300 gold. As the Lycanthrope dies again to this Earthshaker Centaur Warner combo.
Man, this Lycan is going to be pretty much a non-factor. He needs to jungle for like 10 minutes, and then he could contribute something to his team, maybe. With the way Myth Trust are playing, there's no way the Lycan's going to get much split pushing done, and even if he does, he doesn't have a Vlad's or anything like that. It looks like he's going to go for straight power treads, but he's only level 5, and the enemy Earthshaker, he's almost at that mark. The Skywrath Mage is level 6. This Lycan is not having a good time at all, pretty much the worst time. But they might get a kill on the Centaur. That's a lot of experience if they catch up to him. But Jessie Bash got caught. He's going to throw the Snowball, moving pretty quickly. One more right click from the Rubik will get the kill there. Much needed kill, or much needed experience for the Lycan. But here comes Lakelz from the side. Has 2 spirits available, but going into 3 heroes, a little bit difficult. Play hard is very low, and Lakelz seemingly like he wants to go for it. He's going to run into Jessie Bash, and he pretty much solo killed him before. He can do it again. There's the guard. Chains are available. And he's not going to use it. He's just going to beat him down. Okay, that's pretty easy.
I'm not sure why Tusk didn't throw out a Snowball or anything. He could have at least delayed that kill for 4 seconds. But it wouldn't have done anything at the end. It would have maybe allowed them to... Yeah, it would have just wasted a couple seconds of Ember Spirit's time.
So, Tusk, I think the verdict so far is not good.
The verdict is... okay. It's kind of lukewarm. He's not doing a terrible job, but unless you play this hero perfectly, like, it probably could have been better suited to something else.
Right, but we'll keep our eye open for that. He doesn't have his ultimate yet, so hopefully we'll be seeing some Walrus punching, and it's an okay ultimate. I would say it's on the weak side as far as ultimates go, but he really needs to snowball in order to be successful. Not in multiple senses of the word, but mid lane is going to be converged upon. Lakel is going to open things up with the Flame Guard. Going to start burning down everyone. He's going to catch Jesse Bash and try to focus him down. He's caught with the Ice Shards. He's not doing too much damage because it's being drained out, but he's doing more than enough. That's a kill for the Lakel's Ember Spirit. He's going to lift up into the air, though, still taking the whiff damage from Razor. He will jump out of there, and missiles will kill him off in the end. There's no more Fissure mana, and the Centaur, well, he does have a Blink Dagger, but couldn't find the Tinker, who was in a very nice position for that fight. As Mineski, they do pick the Ember Spirit off. In exchange for the Tusk, it's not a big deal.
That's actually a huge kill for your Tinker because that was a dominating spree going his way. That's going to be halfway towards his Blink Dagger on top of the Boots of Travel Soul Ring already at 13 minutes in. They continue blocking up his Ancient Camp, or posturing around it. Those wards are going to expire, so I'll have that, but it doesn't actually matter. His Tinker with the Boots of Travel can farm anywhere that the Lycanthrope is not, and even if the Lycanthrope's there, they can put a lot of pressure onto these towers with the new Boots of Travel. Yeah, despite having this Lycanthrope get off to a really slow start, the Tinker and the Razor are making up for it, I feel.
Yeah, with Mechanism and Phase Boots at this stage of the game, Razor is maxed out as far as his damage skills are concerned. Plasma Field and Static Link are up, and when you could drain the Ember Spirit out for a couple seconds of that link, suddenly you're going to be in a much better position. He only has 1 point in Sleight of Fist for now, and it's really the Flame Guard that is doing the most damage for him, but Razor can completely bypass that almost and just whip him down, and Ember Spirit can't really do much about that. He has Poor Man's Shield, he has drums, I imagine, flying out to him. Yes, he does, but that's not really enough when you have a like 200 damage swing going the way of the Razor. So Razor, as well as you said, Tinker, are going to be pretty much the heroes to hold down the fort, but it might not be for very long because they have a Centaur with a Blink, and he's looking for the Razor. Let's see if he's going to find him.
Yeah, well, we're just going to wait for that. It looks like they're going to back off. They potentially go in mid, and they lift up the Scarlet Mage back in the Razor. He's going to be able to turn on Playhard. Does he get this kill before he dies? With the damage being stolen, I don't think so. And Playhard skates away with less than 30 HP, but the Centaur and Earthshaker are coming inbound towards this Razor. Razor does not have the most damage and has literally no mana to use any of his spells. He has one Stick Charge, but that's it. Centaur Blink, Hoof Stomp, obliterates the Rubik, and now chasing down onto Oa. They silence him for the low ground. Beautiful Fissure coming in from the Earthshaker, and now the Double Edge. He's trying to TP out. Will he be able to make it out alive? I think he will. The Ice Path will, or Ice Shards is actually going to awkwardly trap in the Centaur as well as Earthshaker. Centaur will be able to blink out, and Earthshaker will just have to wait till those expire. Rubik probably was dead anyway there. I don't know. So as long as the Razor gets out of there, I think Mineski are going to be okay with that, especially since the Tinker was able to farm unobstructed throughout those last couple minutes, and now has a 15-minute Blink Dagger. Pretty much on your perfect item path. This is ideal as they go up on the Lycan up top, and he has not had a good time. He's going to die for a third time this game. And only 15 minutes in, he hasn't been able to farm very well either. 48 CS is lackluster, and not even a Vlad's yet.
This Centaur has Lycan's number. That's like the third time the Centaur has gone for or gotten a kill on the Lycan, or at the very least pressured him back. And with the Blink Dagger available, he will pretty much be able to do this non-stop. He had the Scarlet Mage to also follow up with the Silence so that the Lycan couldn't just run away, but they're looking for Razor now up on top. KimiGB is not that healthy, but he's going to go in there anyway. Absolutely fearless because he has Mystic Flare support. Mechanism? What Mechanism? The Scarlet Mage is going to pick off the Razor up on top lane as Myth Trust, just getting the upper hand in these engagements. Really, for Mineski with the Tusk, you would want to be roaming around if you are on the Mineski team, but just the way it's panning out, it shouldn't really be a viable way to go. At least not yet. They need this Lycan to get bigger, and that means a lot more time.
It really does. Tinker is one of the best heroes at buying this time, especially with the Blink Dagger. Myth Trust can't actually catch him out unless they have the Ember Spirit as well as the Centaur there. Once Ember Spirit gets more items, maybe he can solo up the Tinker, but that's just not an option. They need the Ember Spirit to catch him out inside of the trees, and then the Centaur to follow up after they get vision of him. So yeah, I think Tinker is going to be able to buy this space, although this is not going to be your fast and furious Lycanthrope push that we're used to seeing. Is in the river, we might have an engagement. The Fissure's thrown out. Playhard has an Invis Rune, and he's not going to be burned down by the Flame Guard, although Playhard is probably going to be forced back because of this.
Yeah, he has Double Edge, so he could drop a big nuke on someone if he finds them. Maybe even burst down the Earthshaker and be fine, but Double Edge is probably the worst skill you could take from a Centaur if you're Rubik. Ideally, you want Stampede because it is the global, and you can't really go wrong with globals. Hoof Stomp's also decent because you could throw people into your own Hoof Stomp with Telekinesis, but Double Edge, when you have 800 total HP, not good. And uh-oh for Lycan. He is being stalked by a Centaur once again. Here comes the Skywrath to support. Blink is not there yet, and Lycan this time manages to slip away. But, you know, hollow victory, I would say.
Yeah, it really is. That's time that he's not going to be able to farm very effectively in lane. They're putting all of their eggs really into this Tinker basket, which is not a bad thing by any means, but it's not where you want your Lycan to be at this point in the game. Lycanthrope, he has his first core item in the form of the Vladimir's Offering, but it's not like a Blink Dagger on the Centaur, where that actually means anything. It allows him to farm pretty much indefinitely, and on the Dire side, maybe it would mean a Roshan, but it's not going to do so. We have a Fissure landing onto Play Hard as the D-Ward battle comes out. Fissure stolen by the Rubik. Nice spell, and well, JC Vash is down low ground. He's going to get a custom shot. Nice Fissure from the Rubik, catches out too. No follow-up there, TPing in the Tinker, however. We might see a fight break out, although it's very spread, and I don't think they're actually going to jump into this.
Earthshaker, crucially, doesn't have any enchant totem. It costed him 1 kill when the Razor just TP'd away from the Earthshaker, and it's going to mean that he is going to give the Rubik Fissure every single time he casts it. Let's see if he gets it at level 7. It seems unlikely since you pretty much want that level 4. No, he's actually going to go for the enchant totem, so Yashimaru are going to recognize that it's a little bit of a too dangerous situation to give Rubik a Fissure every time, and he's going to get that 1 point. Should have gotten it earlier, but hey, what are you going to do? They're now going to go for Roshan, and Mineski, I don't know if they're capable of fighting this one. Razor's a little bit too far away. Razor and Roshan pit's great and everything, but Exorcism and the damage should just be there for Mythtrust to snag this one and be fine.
I'm not sure they really have the sustain. If Tinker wanted to and dropped a March inside the pit, I think that's 2 kills going his way. MyPro's going to heal up after the Roshan goes down. His Centaur ultimate deployed. Not sure for what notes for the Lycanthrope. He's going to get blown up, and that'll definitely secure this Roshan going their way. Mineski are not in position to defend against that. They'll probably get a tier 1 tower in return, although it's only Oa auto-attacking onto that tier 1. They're going to secure themselves an Aegis for their Ember Spirit. They do have 3 heroes in mid, and Tinker's just going to blink away, TP. Rubik and Tusk are going to back off. So it's a trade we see time and time again, although this time it is going to be delayed by a glyph. I still think Razor's going to get this. They TP back in the Death Prophet, and he'll be forced to back off.
And now Death Prophet has the opportunity for a tower deny, so let's see if the Razor's going to win, and it will be the tower denied. MyPro with enough movement speed to escape as they do pick off the Centaur. This Lycan isn't there, so he doesn't get any sweet revenge, but hey, it's a kill on the enemy who has been causing so much havoc, and well, that'll mean the Lycan is going to be able to farm up for a couple of seconds without having to worry about a giant horse attacking him, which is going to be very nice for him because 0-4-2 is just a terrible situation to be in. The Lycan and Skywrath Mage the Centaur and Skywrath Mage combination has been just brutal for Mythtrust. They've been catching out heroes left, right, and center, and now they have an Aegis on the Ember Spirit. They are going to smoke up and look for more blood, and I think it's going to be on the Lycan once again. This is pretty much Mythtrust writing the book on how to shut down a Lycan. You just kill him, and then you kill him again, and then you just don't stop killing him. He's going to get silenced, Mystic Flare with the chain setup. Easy kills. Easy, easy kills.
At the same time, they're also kind of running a clinic on how not to shut down a Tinker. The only death that Tinker had was because he honestly just made a mistake in mid and got caught by a Crypt Swarm. He's 2-1-2 and is working towards what looks like a Bloodstone. It could also be an Aghanim Scepter, honestly, if they just want to turtle really hard. It's not the worst item, although at 20 minutes in, it's probably a little too late to go for that. I'm thinking this is a Bloodstone just so you can stay out in base. Oh, the Skywrath Mage, they're going to drop a Fissure from the Rubik. It's going to split this up nicely as they're going to lose their Skywrath Mages. Ember Spirit just has to back off after the Snowball comes through. Wall Sprint's not even necessary there. And, well, mid push is going to come into this tier 1 tower in mid, although they got this pick off, and oh, Rubik, he's dead to Play Hard. Double Edge comes through, and yeah, Rubik did not stand a chance up against that center. This time, no backup coming out from the... Oh, Eul Scepter goes onto the melee creep. I don't know, going to be annoyed by that. Tinker was able to blink away in time, and they'll defend this tower with a couple marches on the ground. It still takes a lot of damage from Exorcism, but they'll still keep the creeps at arm's length. Centaur and Ember Spirit potentially looking for a wraparound.
I don't know. Oh, Stampede in. They're going to be looking for someone. However, there's no one in that little nook this time. So Stampede wasted as they put a lot of pressure onto this tier 1 tower, but with the Tinker March, it's just so hard to push. I don't care who you are. If you're dealing with March of the Machines and missile spam, it's going to hurt. And Tinker, yeah, with that early point booster, it's a very uncommon item to see on Tinker at all until super late in the game where Bloodstone's an item. And when Ember Spirit going to be forced to jump out, 30 HP, he'll survive. He also had the Aegis, so he would have survived anyway. But going back to the Tinker, it could be an Aghanims, which does increase the laser range and the heat-seeking missile numbers. I don't think March of the Machines or Rearm are affected by that, so it's most likely just going to be for more laser or missile. I don't really know if I like it. It's like hard to compare that item to a Dagon, which is so often picked up from Tinker, and it's really easy to see Dagon's impact in whatever game is picked up.
It really is. I think the only situation that you get an Aghanim Scepter is if you're going for a very early push with Tinker, which isn't a situation you're going to see in drafts with Tinker very often. And if you do go for it, I think you skip your blink, actually, so you can have it at about the 20-minute mark and just run at the enemy team with 4 rockets, always harassing them down. I think this is going to be a Bloodstone, however, just so he can stay out on the map almost indefinitely.
It is an item that we see picked up for Tinker, but usually as a 5th or 6th item when they're pretty much maxed out. They have the Sheep Stick going, they have a level 5 Dagon and Ethereal Blade, so they are able to stay out on the map for longer and actually contribute more because they'll be able to 100 to 0 people. Speaking of 100 to 0, Death Prophet is now being stalked by a Tusk, though it's only a level 8 Tusk, and he could interrupt this TP. He will do so, just be a nuisance, but that's about it. He's going to throw the Ice Shards as well. MyPro taking a good amount of damage from that, but now he's going to throw this Tusk up into the air, has support incoming, but they all will back off. In the meantime, bottom lane, Myth, they're just very slowly pushing that out with a couple heroes, and no one from Mineski is moving down there to defend this tower, so it should be a tower at the very least as, well, MyPro is going to open up with the Crypt Swarm, going to whiff. Silence onto play hard, not going to do too much either. MyPro dropping very low, sitting in the march. Now, never what you really want to do. Lakelz is going to join the fight, try to go for this Rubik, who's doing quite a bit of damage. Play hard actually gets a slight fist kill on the Earthshaker with that 79 damage. Missiles are going to fly, but it will not be enough to save the Rubik. Rubik will go down in the end. Ultimately, a 2-for-1 trade for Mineski as Lakelz is going to want to go for more, actually. Chains are there, and this double edge will bring the Razor down very low. Do they have enough to kill him off? No, with the laser, they can't do it. Although Centaur is still circling around, he is going to be walled off by the March. Ice Shards are going to fly very, very wide. Missiles still flying as well, but looks like that should be the end of it unless Kimiji runs into Jesse Bash. He blinks out, and he'll be just fine. In the meantime, Lycan finally able to do some Lycan things. He's got level 1 book, and he's taken down the top lane all the way to the tier 3.
Yeah, and now he's going to start working on bottom lane. He's finally left alone by the Centaur since he's fighting in mid, and that's what's giving this Lycanthrope the time to actually do something. He's going to have his level 2 Necronomicon. At this point in the game, usually you'd like to at least see level 3, if not working towards the next item. But with the start he's had at 0, 5, and 2, you can't really fault him for where he's at, and he's actually pretty solid as far as net worth is concerned. And with a little bit of lull in the action, we can take a look at the graphs, and Mineski, they don't have the largest lead, but it's still about 1,100 in their favor, and with a Tinker and Lycanthrope on your team, that's pretty scary. And then Experience, not in their favor at all. It's a 1,000 lead for Myth Trust, although they have redirected it back towards their direction. It is going to be a Bloodstone for a Tinker, starting out with 8 charges. By the nature of the hero, Tinker should be able to get Bloodstone charges, and that reduced cooldown is going to be very useful later on, so if he's able to stock up on that, I think it's still a pretty solid item, although, as you said, I think Dagon is usually just a little bit more reliable, and then you can go for something else later on, whether it's an Ethereal Blade or Bloodstone or what have you.
Yeah, and also on Myth, they are sitting on quite a bit of gold. Ember Spirit picks up his Perseverance, but we saw this in the last game of Myth, where their Ember Spirit did alright, and he just didn't get many items up, and he's actually pretty slow on his items, I would say. I would like a Battle Fury from him at this stage, especially with 6, 1, and 3. His net worth just isn't really following up, so Lakelz is going to be slowed down a little bit, but, you know, pretty much on par at the very least with the Lycan, so he should be okay with that situation, although Lycan has been shut down so much, and he still has just as much net worth as your Ember. Not farming as well as I would really expect, and especially if he's going to be jumped right here. Play hard. Looking for lift up, but Lycan can't really do anything to follow that up.
Yeah, it's a very unlikely kill if they find it. Ember Spirit's juking through with Aestrin looking for the Rubik, but he's already TP'd out. The Lycanthrope is far enough back, I think. We do have a Blink Dagger now on your Earthshaker, which is, I don't know, pretty much the time you expect from your support Earthshaker, especially when they're doing okay at 2-1 and 2. This is a good KDA for Yoshimura here, and well, they might be able to turn onto this Lycanthrope. They might be fighting in mid. Rubik just still double edge, but that's about it. So it's just Lycan sitting in lane, playing pretty much like a Broodmother.
And that's really what he wants to have happen. I bet he wishes he has some invisibility, because it would certainly help him versus the Centaur, but he's getting a little bit more space, and really that's all Mineski really want. They're not going for any super aggressive pushing. Though they do have the fresh BKB on the Razor, they're not looking for a team fight. And usually you would say that that's a pretty bad mistake. If you get a BKB, you want to fight straight after. But just chilling for now is going to be pretty beneficial for them, because with so many March of the Machines, like Tinker has such a deep mana pool with that Bloodstone, there's no way Myth are going to actually be able to push. Death Prophet is getting pretty tanky, but she cannot walk into 3-4 stacks of March of the Machines. It's just not going to happen, unless she has a Death Wish, which she might. She is the Death Prophet, but it's pretty much just a brick wall that Myth Trust cannot bypass. It's buying a lot of space for the Lycan to farm.
Yeah, once they do have the Heart and Death Prophet, as well as the Pipe on the Centaur Warner, they will be able to push into March pretty effectively. Although not like foolproof or anything, it's still going to sting. They'll at least be able to sustain enough to get the towers down with level 2 Exorcism.
And I think Razor, holding 1200 gold, should be going for his Aghanims. With the BKB mech, he'll be very tanky, hard to bring down from Myth. And then Mineski could probably look to be going on the aggressive with that item. They'll be packing a little bit more pushing power, as Lycan will be a okay hero by then. He has his book level 3, so he's getting more and more relevant as this game progresses. However, it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit more of a clash now as Centaur positioned up for the mid lane. Playhard stole the Fissure. It's a fantastic defensive skill to steal, and he's going to run straight into the Centaur. Hoof Stomp, Double Edge is also there, but Playhard is going to tank most of that up. Throws the Fissure, has telekinesis as well, but gets fissured himself. It will not be enough because the Fissure's on the wrong side. Now lift up onto the Centaur. He will be thrown down, and Stampede stolen as well. Now the Static Link onto Kimiji. Is there anything else to lift him up or anything? No. Tusk coming in a little bit too late to Snowball or Walrus Punch. Everyone's going to live, in fact. But it may not be the case for very long, because Ember Spirit and Skywrath Mage off to the side looking to jump in, but again, into the March, it's not where you want to go. They're going to just rush the tower, it seems. But Fissure's there to slow down the Razor, and now the Ember Spirit's going to double jump in. The BKB popped by the Razor. Took a lot of damage, though. Not too sure if that's how he wants to use that first BKB charge. Myth, they hold their tower. They have to worry about bottom lane pushing, but all in all, it's not much of anything going the way of anyone.
Yeah, it is probably going to be a tower deny coming out from the center Warner. They actually glyph to secure that one, but they'll be able to get that at the very least. Tier 1 tower in mid is low, but they won't have the damage required to deny that, about 40 away. Rubik going to pick up his Blink Dagger, and now we have that Dagon on the Tinker. It's still, honestly, not the worst timing for a Dagon. And especially after Bloodstone, Jacko's still ridiculously farmed, and now he's going to look to put some stacks onto that Bloodstone with the Dagon. He can pretty much kill either of the supports if he catches them out alone, and even the Death Prophet and Centaur aren't that immune. Ember Spirit with his shield, as well as being able to remnant away, he probably won't die, but with backup they definitely could do it.
Yeah, they're going to need a blinking Rubik in order to start that, and luckily for them they do have that, so killing the Ember Spirit always going to be a little bit difficult since Mineski are kind of stun light. Really, they only have the telekinesis in order to lock down a hero very easily. Snowball is, I guess, something that could happen, but against a hero that just needs a millisecond to escape, it's not going to happen. Bottom lane, Fissure onto the Lycan. Where's the Centaur? He got walled off by the Fissure, I think, so he couldn't jump in, and that means the Lycan's going to escape.
Yeah. Lycans are finally living after one of those ganks, and now the Centaur ultimate being deployed by the Rubik. They're going to buff into the Ember Spirit, although Playhard's silenced up. They do Walrus Punch him up, and inside the Snowball, they're going to be safe for now. Playhard is not going to fall. The Sleight of Fist is going to be dodged by a Blink Dagger, and now Jacko is just cleaning up on the backlines. The Ember Spirit going to die, and the Earthshaker also going to fall, and that's going to be 3 kills for Jacko. 11 Bloodstone charges now, as well as a level 2 Dagon. This Tinker is getting ridiculously scary.
And Death Prophet having no part in that fight at all. It's really not the kind of fight that Myth ever wants to take. The Ember Spirit, I mean, he did a lot of damage, but he got held out and he was brought down pretty quickly. And Mineski also got the Earthshaker very quickly early on with, you know, just running him down, very easily done there. So it's a very free 3 kills for Mineski, and they should be pretty happy with that. Now they're going to spot that Roshan is alive. 20 seconds till Ember Spirit is up, but Mineski, I don't think they could go for this just yet. Lycan can do it, but it's more of a slow and safe thing rather than a quick thing, so going into that Roshan pit's going to be a little bit risky. Also, MyPro's knocking on the mid lane, and, well, Jacko's there. 11 Bloodstone charges. He's going to have more regeneration than he could possibly know what to do with, so he's going to be a devastating force moving forward. Dagon level 2, and, well, I would like to see the Ethereal Blade right now. It would protect him a huge amount versus the Death Prophet ultimate, but, you know, maxing out Dagon's not a terrible way to go either.
If I remember correctly, the math says that the most damage efficient Dagon level to get Ethereal Blade at is Dagon level 3. I usually don't like to see it leveled up any more than that, and honestly, I think just the utility from Ghost Scepter as well as Ethereal Blade is enough to warrant picking it up before that, even if you're not going for the most efficient damage build. I think it's still really solid. But Roshan, Mythras are going to try to go into this, and they should be able to get it without much contention coming out from Mineski. They don't have a great way to jump into it. We do have the Dagon level 3 coming out from the Tinker, and after this, I'd at least like to see a Ghost Scepter on him, if not the Ethereal Blade completed is this next item. It's going to be killed by Dire, taken up by the Ember Spirit, and the fight is not going to break out. Despite Tinker being on the high ground there, he's just going to blink away TP as Rubik's going to be the one to fall on the backlines, with Exorcism still running, just a blink Hoof Stomp double edge with the Exorcism, not a chance. Now they're jumping towards the Tusk. Fissure is going to miss, and they're not going to be able to catch up with him, or will they? Ember Spirit going to throw out more chains and spirits, and now there's the blink Hoof Stomp double edge onto the Tusk. They'll be able to pick up that kill pretty easily. Now this tier 1 tower in mid doesn't really stand much of a chance with the pipe on the Centaur as well as the Death Prophet, they could pretty much just commit to this straight up, and even with Mypro just sitting straight out in the middle of that March, Shaco's gonna eat himself a Scarlet Mage ulti. Now get changed up. He sounds up, trying to TP out the best he can. Will they be able to cancel in time? They will. As he is killed, and that's going to cancel his TP one way or another. The Ember Spirit's mech'd up by the Centaur. Now the Double Edge going the way of Oa with the follow-up coming out from the Earthshaker. They're not able to finish him down. He has the BKB. I don't think he's going to be able to run away. However, the right clicks, are they going to be there? Looks like they're going to give up chase onto Oa, or will they? The Ember Spirit and Earthshaker is still back here. The Rubik's going to steal Enchant Totem. That's not going to help. Razor is cleaned up on the backlines. They lift up the Ember Spirit under the Tier 1 tower. The Tier 1 tower is going to fall as they stun up Playhard as well. What a messy engagement that was. But I think Mythtrust lost nobody and didn't even lose the Aegis.
Manesi,
oh, Tinker.
What are they doing? Well, they're going to pick off the Aegis of the Ember Spirit, but he has one Spirit to jump out. Walrus Punch being armed. Punch! Do a lot of damage to the Ember. Will kill him off, in fact, with the Dagon Laser in addition to that. In the meantime, Lycan has been pushing down the bottom lane, but not for long. Gets caught with the Hoof Stomp, Mystic Flare. It's not like we've seen that a million times before. But Manesi throwing themselves at Mythtrust just one at a time. Literally, one person goes in, dies, the next person goes in and dies, then the next person goes in and dies. Mythtrust take such a very fortuitous exchange in that really they couldn't ask for a bigger blunder from Manesi. You don't get any worse of a fight than that.
But at the same time, Tier 3 tower almost falling, and 2 towers going the way towards the Lycanthrope, and with only the Tier 1 tower falling in the favor of Mythtrust, the map control is still going to be there for Manesi. Despite the Tinker dying there, he still has 9 Bloodstone charges after picking up the kills afterwards, so he's still not looking too shabby in that department, and I don't know, with the Blink on your Tusk now, they have some pretty big tools for these next couple of team fights, and I think Manesi are going to be happy with how this Tinker is doing, and, well, the Lycanthrope's doing what he can. Despite dying 6 times, he's still contributed, taking down 4 towers.
At the very least, Manesi gets something out of that engage, but taking a quick look at the golden experience graphs, that huge spike of 7,500 experience, about 3,000 gold after that series of events, really showing how messy and how disastrous that fight was for them. I mean, maybe if they had BKB on Lycan, or maybe if they were all there at the same time, it would have been a fight that they could have done, but just going in like that is the worst case scenario. That's going to, well, still give Tinker a Dagon level 5 in the end. 9 Bloodstone charges, and he is sitting pretty on that, and still the tower advantage actually in favor of Manesi because this Lycan has been largely ignored during all these fights. He's bought the bottom tier 3 down fairly low, but Tinker's in a little bit of trouble actually. Blink out just in time from the Earthshaker, but still in a vulnerable position as the Ember Spirit does jump in. Blink out from the Tinker, but he will get silenced. Mystic Flare will be off the mark, but Jacko's going to go down regardless. This is a pretty low respawn timer, but he's still alive actually for a little bit longer. I don't think he's going to live. There he goes. Echo Slam being committed, completely whiffed I think because the Tinker was already dead, but now they're going to get play hard as well. The Razor's on the back end trying to chase down the Skywrath Mage, and Lycan's here a little bit late to the party. Already Myth have taken down 2 heroes, and I don't think Manesi can nor will they try to do this. And they lose the Courier as well. Razor at the right place at the right time, getting a kill and a Courier. Well done.
Yeah, I don't know. Which hero did he actually kill? I don't think he actually got anybody.
Just the Courier. But
yeah, just the Courier. Dying over there. Potentially a little bit missed micro, but they still get the tier 2 tower very low. That is actually going to be denied if they let that catapult hit it one more time. And, well, there you go. They might decide to deny that tier 2. Would be some pretty good economic damage. They now have a BKB on their Lycanthrope. It's still not going to save him. Honestly, I think maybe just going for a Assault Cuirass could have been better, although this will save him from the Centaur, as well as a Skywrath combination that's killed him time and time again.
But will it, though? I mean, the Mystic Flare is doing a ton of damage, and he'll be able to get it off and maybe slip away at like 300-ish HP, but for a 10-second BKB charge, that's a pretty steep investment to get out of there and use it purely defensively. He wants to be using it offensively, but the mobility for Mythtrust is just so high. The Lycan, even though he's moving at such high movement speed, is going to struggle to keep up with the likes of Ember Spirit and the Centaur once he's stampeded, and even the Death Prophet's moving at a pretty fast clip, so the BKB is definitely going to help Lycan. It will let him fight, and he will take a role that's not purely into the split push, but I still think he's going to struggle in this fight until he gets something like a Basher or something like that, or just pure tankiness so he could run around for just longer.
Yeah, if he had a Heart Basher here, he would be in a really happy place, but yeah, until he gets up those bigger items, he's not really going to be able to auto-attack very frequently in the team fights, as well as I think his role is more or less just going to stay the same. He might be able to join a little bit better. Let's see, Tinker cancels his TP towards the top lane. The Centaur was a little bit too close for comfort. Tinker is leveling up his Dagon to level 5 before going for the Ethereal Blade. He'll get the burst online quicker, although in the long run it's going to be less. It's okay, I suppose. Up against the Heart from the Death Prophet, this is probably the fastest way to burst her down in the next team fight. Although I think the Ghost Scepter would just prove a little bit more useful than the last Dagon upgrade.
Yeah, the Ghost Scepter would have helped him so much in the last fight when he was silenced and just trying desperately to get some space. Dagon doesn't do that for you. Ghost Scepter most certainly does, and well, Myth Trust, they're going to go for the bottom lane push now. March of the Machines going to once again be that brick wall, meaning that Myth Trust have to fall back for now. Roshan, is their Aegis still up? Was it used? It was used on the Ember Spirit, right? Right,
yeah.
So Aegis not available for Myth Trust in this push, but they have a Heart on the Death Prophet and the level 3 Exorcism. You might as well just go for it, see what you get. And they might get the Rubik bursted down from the Centaur. Ember Spirit securing that with the chains. Oh, easy kill on the Rubik. I don't know how they had vision of that. Maybe that was just a blind blink with the Centaur? Either way, it's a kill on the Rubik.
Yeah, it might have been just straight up blind. They potentially could have just spammed out the Sleight of Fist and then saw that somebody was back there and Centaur's like, I have a heart, I don't care, and they just jumped onto him. But yeah, it is going to be a tier 2 tower going the way of Myth. And I think they'll defend high ground, although with the Pipe and Hearts on multiple heroes, they could potentially go for it. It's a lot safer just to back up for these tier 2s and wait out the next Roshan before attempting high ground.
So we have a little bit of a lull in the action. Let's take another quick update, and well, we'll see Grandis' opinion on Tusk at this point. 38 minutes in, Tusk, yay or nay?
Nay?
I agree.
I don't know, I haven't seen this Blink Dagger that he picked up a while ago actually be very useful. The Blink saves with Snowball are really nice, as well as the, I don't know, the Walrus Punch. The Walrus Punch was pivotal in getting that Ember Spirit kill after respawn from the Aegis, but even then, it's still kind of a nay. It's a loop room pick. I think it would have been better if that was a Shadow Shaman. Oh, Exorcism stolen. Now they're going to go on to Jesse Bash. They're going to lose their Tusk at the beginning of this fight before he actually does anything. Tinker on the high ground, he might still get caught out. The BKB, they don't have the chains available for another second, but with the Remnant forward, they're going to catch out Jacko. Another follow-up. He's just going to suicide himself very early on. That's going to be 3 heroes down inside of Mineski and only 1 loss to Skywrath Mage. They're still chasing down MyPro. MyPro is going to fall, but not before bringing down the Lycanthrope. With those Exorcism Spirits doing so much damage. Kimchi looking for the stun onto Oa there. They're going to get with the Earthshaker instead. Now the Echo Slam committed. That's going to be a full 5-man wipe. Spread out throughout the entirety of the Radiant side, pretty much the middle portion of the map, but Tier 2 Tower falls in their favor, as well as 5 heroes. They should probably get this Tier 2 Tower top as well. As that's so low, they could probably just backdoor that, but they're going to look to force out some buybacks here.
Yeah, they have Heart on the Centaur, so he's going to be more than happy to tank that up, but Myth, their Death Prophet lived a lot longer than I thought. Mineski threw everything that they had at that Death Prophet, and I thought they picked her off until I just saw the Spirits still sticking around, and she just did so much damage. Rubik stole the Exorcism, which is, all well and good. It's a pretty decent skill to steal, but he got eaten by the Spirits before he could do much damage at all because Myth's Death Prophet survived for that huge amount of time, and Mineski, they just couldn't bring her down fast enough, and then once the fight devolved into everyone just going in their own separate directions, that was just cleanup crew for Myth, because they do have that much mobility. They have the mobility in the Ember Spirit, which was huge, and the Death Prophet was pretty much out-kiting the Lycanthrope. She is a little bit slower than the Lycan, but when the Lycan has to slow down for auto attacks, you're going to be able to get a good amount of space in between those wolf attacks. So Myth taking a very nice fight there, and they bring down a tier 3 tower as well. They lose a couple heroes here and there, but all in all, it's a pretty nice victory for the Myth side, and they can also go for Roshan straight after this. It is spotted out, and it is holding that cheese, so Aegis for the Ember Spirit, most likely cheese on the Death Prophet, maybe on the Centaur, but regardless, Mineski, I don't know if they could do this. I don't know if they can contest this Roshan.
Yeah, I'm not sure they can. They weren't able to contest the first 2, and I don't think they'll be able to get this one either. I'm really liking the wording coming out from Myth. They have, I don't know, this word's kind of lackluster over by the Radiant safe lane, but the Cliff ward, which is pretty much just tailored to counter the Tinker, it's a very awkward spot and probably shouldn't be in the game, but since it is, this is a great way to catch them out inside the trees. They don't have the spells to get the vision, but they do have wards, and they'll be able to snag themselves a cheese for the Death Prophet, as well as an Aegis for your Ember Spirit yet again. This Ember Spirit, he's hitting pretty hard. He has the BKB as well as Battle Fury. He's going to have the Crystallis and presumably Daedalus before too long. Although his net worth isn't that great, it's still enough to be relevant in these fights, and above that of the Lycan as well as the Razor. The Centaur, actually, surprisingly, is the second highest net worth hero in this game. 5, 2, and 10. Centaur just hasn't died, and as a Centaur, that's very admirable. One of the heroes that's going to be jumping in very aggressively. But now at this point, I don't think they can very effectively kill him. With 26 armor as well as the Pipe of Insight, he's taking literally no damage. He's sitting in the march and doesn't care.
That's terrifying. Centaur is not exactly a hero that I would call a carry or a right-click hero by any means, but if he has this much sustain, he could just sit in the enemy's, right in the enemy's face and just do whatever he wants for however long it takes for them to kill him off. And over time, that 200 damage a pop just with pure right clicks is going to be pretty threatening, especially if he turns this plate mail into an assault cuirass. Seeing as though Death Prophet does have a Shivas already, it seems to be likely. This Centaur is going to be a pretty huge right clicker for Myth. So between the Centaur, right click damage, the Death Prophet, Exorcism, Physical, as well as the Ember Spirit, they'll be able to kill off the Mineski side pretty quickly as they do catch Jackal perhaps. Blink away, but Yashimaru actually catches him, but who caught who really? The Dagon Blast, and that's going to be enough to kill off the Shaker as Tinker going to slowly make his Blink retreat back. Shaker feeling pretty confident in that, but got way too over-aggressive. Play hard, going to get chained down by the Ember Spirit, though he does have backup. Jesse Vash has the Polar Punch armed, not going to land onto anyone just yet. But regardless, Myth Trust, they try to catch the Tinker off guard, which they've been struggling to do for the most part, and ultimately just end up losing their Shaker, not respecting that burst.
Yeah, I don't know. The Earthshaker dies in one cycle of Tinker attacks. I think you have to like instantly use him and then go for even the Echo Slam if you can't time the Enchant Totem. We do have a Deny coming out in the tower from the Rubik. A couple of spells starting out towards the Wolves. They'll be brought down. The Ato is actually used for that as well. Scar the Mage, 10-second cooldown doesn't actually matter. But yeah, the Centaur, also not to mention, his ultimate's actually doing a pretty hefty sum of damage. As with 168, oh no, the fight's going to break up before I talk about that, as Razor's in the midst of it with the BKB popped. Jesse Vash, he's falling very low, but he gets the snowball off, and he's going to roll in. They're looking for the Centaur. Centaur is too tanky right now. They're going to start eating away his armor with the Eye of the Storm. They have the Necrobook on the ground, but now with MyPro in this fight, they can't really go for it. Eul Scepter on the Razor. No way to bring him down. There's the Hoof Stomp onto him, and now the Double Edge as well as the Exorcism Spirits eating away at Oa is going to fall. And well, Tier 2 Tower, although it's been denied from them, they won't be able to go high ground as easily without Roshan, or without, the Exorcism available. They still have some time on that and should be able to take another Tier 3 Tower, if not high ground. Shiva's Guard, the Death Prophet, has not a care in the world. She has the cheese. She's going to silence up the Tinkers. She's going to be lifted up by the Rubik, pulled back, but the Ember Spirits join the fray, play hard. They're going to get some nice chains on him, and a beautiful Echo Slam catches out 2, actually 3 with the Tusk coming out in the follow-up Enchant Totem. That's going to be 3 kills. The Tinker's still doing a decent amount of damage on the backlines, but it's not enough to get the kill on MyPro. Eul Scepter onto the Lycanthrope. There's a jump casually on the ground, but they're committing to these racks finally. Centaur taking the one up top, and everybody else in mid just feeling so confident in this game.
Myth, they took that fight holding so much gold on their heroes. They take a set of range racks, and looks like the top lane melee is definitely going to go down as well as MyPro, pretty much just running interference. The very tanky Death Prophet with that heart, and Centaur, in that entire fight, Mineski were trying to kill off the Centaur, and you said it before, this guy's literally taking no damage. He tanked the damage of a Tinker combo, and then like 3 other heroes trying to kill him off, and he didn't give a damn. Like, he walked out of there at more than half of his HP, because that's what Centaur does. He's holding on to 3,000 gold, so Assault Cuirass can be picked up from him. There's 6,000 gold in the Ember Spirit, but even without the gold being spent, he's still doing a truckload of damage, simply because Mineski can't keep up with him. And, well, they're going to lose 2 sets of Raxes, and now they're going to be working on the 3rd Myth. This is Mineski's time to possibly pull something out of the hat. They do catch the Ember Spirit, and Playhard stole the Flame Guard, so he's going to survive for a little bit longer. Ember Spirit's still alive, is going to lose only the Aegis. Who really cares about that? Here comes the Razor, going to come right back in, but I don't know if he actually wants to be doing this. Jesse Vash going to try to snowball out, as Razor is in the middle of this fight with the BKB Eye of the Storm active, but he's not able to actually do that much damage. Slowed down by the Hoof Stomp, the BKB only 4 seconds at this point. Yashimaru with the Fissure, mostly going to be just a wall, as he is going to be mauled by the Lycan. He will be brought down as Kimiji as well as Lakel's going to try to kill off this Razor for a second time. He does not have a buyback available, but he will slip out alive as Tusk does get off the Ember Spirit with that Polar Punch. MyPro still in the middle of everything though. Exorcism is working down everyone, and they just can't kill off the Death Prophet. They will actually do it. Okay, it was just the Dagon combo from Razors. SD, he's going to try to teleport away. Jesse Bash doesn't have anything else to interrupt this. Myth Trust, they don't get the sets of Raxes that they wanted in the entirety, but they get top and bottom. Good enough for them.
Yeah. That last fight went better for Mineski than I thought it would. A lot of that going to the Tusk. He was so low and was able to get off a really nice snowball, delaying that for 4 seconds and then picking off the Ember Spirit kill with the Polar Punch. But even then, it wasn't enough. Razor stole a decent sum of damage there from the Centaur. Centaur was still right-clicking for a decent amount, and with everybody focusing him, they were able to kill him. So the Centaur is not immortal, but it's still effectively 2 lanes completely down, as well as all of the Tier 3 towers. Myth, they have so many items coming out. This Tinker, although he has the Ethereal Blade, he's still pretty easy to bring down. It'll help him for sure in the next couple of fights, and if there is a hero that can push out against these amount of creeps, it is the Tinker. It's still a very hard game, however, especially when you look at your Lycanthrope, who has pretty much the same items he had 15 minutes ago.
Salt Cuirass will be very useful for him, but it definitely won't help him enough as SD is going to be stalked by the Tinker. I think he's trying to get the kill on Tinker. He's putting a lot of damage onto him. That Ethereal form not helping the Tinker at all, but now Scout Mage ran out of gas. One more Dragon Blast or anything not available as here comes the kills. We'll jump onto Jacko with the BKB up. Tinker can do nothing but burn. Ember Spirit's going to get the kill on the Tinker, ending a dominating streak. Fuja Travels coming in big for him there, as that is what he purchased up instead of crit. Kind of surprising. He still is holding on to a decent sum of gold, but where did it go? Oh, he's going for Ultimate Orb. Okay.
I've seen it a lot from Ember Spirits. I still don't like it. It's okay, though, because it doesn't really matter at this point. He's doing enough damage, and the extra tank will be helpful. I don't know. It's fine. The Assault Cuirass is online for the Centaur Warner, and we have a Death Prophet who's also sitting on a decent sum. We have a Vlad's now on the Earthshaker, and I don't know, this Razor is going to be doing very little damage, as is the Lycanthrope. All of their damage is more or less in the Tinker. If he's dead, that's pretty much the opening. Luckily enough for him, he was sitting on, I believe, 9 Bloodstone charges, so his cooldown timer isn't the longest, although it's still going to be pretty hefty, and the last lane of Rax is going to be eyed down by Myth. Not waiting for the next Roshan, feeling that they don't need it, and I think they're probably right.
This Centaur is absolutely terrifying with the 170-something strength times 3. That's, about 600 damage from everyone as soon as they step onto the enemies. He's just taking up everything. Now that the Ember Spirit's going to jump in really deep, does not connect onto anyone but MyPro. Sitting up in the air is going to be doing a lot of damage just with those spirits because he's not being focused down. Finally goes up into the air, but still, no one has died just yet. Lakel's in the back end trying to kill off Jacko, who is hexed up. Mystic Flare will whiff on the Tinker, but he will be brought down regardless, and that is Tinker down. Does he have a buyback? He doesn't. Without the Tinker, there's no way in hell Mineski can defend this because the Centaur is still about half HP, taking razor shots, doesn't really care, although he's going to get lifted up in the air, starting to drop fairly low. He will be fine to just walk his way out. His Playhard is going to get jumped on by the Ember Spirit, shackled to the floor, and now only the Razor's alive, and he's going to try valiantly to defend against this, but it's not going to happen. At the end of 49 minutes in the game, Myth Trust finally break through, and Mineski are forced to tap out.
Yeah, both of these teams seem to be pretty evenly matched as far as the two games that I've seen in this series. The first one going incredibly long, as did this one. But in the end, it is going to be Myth Trust. To come out ahead, the Tinker was not enough to carry them through that game. It was looking pretty good for Mineski throughout a decent amount of that, but once you lose a lane of Rax, it's just so hard to come back from that, and let alone two.
Yeah, so
one of the biggest problems was that they gave away 3 Roshans. And they have a Lycanthrope. Lycanthrope's a hero that wants to get that Rosh for himself, and he was never able to find an opportunity.
Yeah, Lycan as well as Tusk were essentially dead heroes for Mineski for a large part of the game. They got a couple towers to the Lycan, and Tusk had a couple of nice punches, but ultimately the Tusk could have been much better if he was instead any other support hero. A Vengeful Spirit, a Shadow Shaman who wasn't banned. Any one of those would have done a lot more for Mineski, but that is going to be the end of this best of 2 series, guys. Mineski take 1, that happened yesterday. Watch that game, it was really good. Myth Trust take this one today, and ultimately it's just going to be a tie here on Hefla TV 2, Hefla TV 1 actually. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to follow the stream if you did. Also follow Hefla TV 2 and Hefla Moke. That's where all the English channels are going to be broadcasting from. And if you want a little bit more in-depth, then head on over to facebook.com, twitter.com/HeflaTV, and give us a follow and a like there. The VODs will be up on youtube.com/HeflaMoke by the end of the day. And I think that should be it. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Grandis V. I don't know if there's any more games today, but we're going to update you on that after we leave this game. And I think that should be it. Do you have anything else to say?
No, it was a good game to watch, and thanks for watching all.
All right, guys.
GG.
GG.